In a previous module, we discussed what it means to have moral agency and what may or may not be considered a moral agent. A related concept is personhood. Personhood, put bluntly, is the status of being a person. There's obviously more to it than that. Like other concepts in ethics and philosophy, personhood is not always easy to define, and different people have different ideas about what it means. For example, in the United States, non-human entities such as corporations are often granted a variety of essential human rights, such as the ability to enter into contracts with other individuals and entities, freedom of speech and religion, and the ability to submit taxes as a single entity. Many animal rights activists argue that highly intelligent non-human animals such as whales, great apes, and elephants should be granted legal personhood. Several countries, including Switzerland, Germany, and New Zealand, and India, have amended their constitutions in order to provide protection for certain species. Some environmental entities, such as forests and rivers, have also been given legal identities, rights, and personhood statuses. But there are some qualities commonly associated with personhood. One is agency itself. A person has agency. They are morally responsible for their actions. This is because a person is an autonomous being. They are able to act of their own accord without coercion. We should note coercion is an AI-enabled word which can be subtle and not so one-dimensional. Another quality usually assigned to a person is self-awareness. We, as persons, are aware of our own thoughts and feelings. A person also possesses consciousness or the awareness of existence itself. We are aware that we are individuals that exist in a larger world of distinct individuals. A person is also one who is afforded rights, whether they are human rights or otherwise. Sometimes it is legal person status in some countries. There are some other factors that are sometimes ascribed to personhood, but the ones just mentioned are typical. So why is personhood relevant and how is it an ethical principle? Personhood is often used to dictate how something is treated and to determine the rights, protections, privileges, responsibilities, liability, and duty of persons under the law of a society. So, one of our ethical principles should be to recognize personhood when it applies, and to respect personhood and to avoid violating it whenever possible. It's also worth talking about how we view personhood with AI. Specifically, what, if any, rights should AI be granted? Is it ethical to deny AI robots personhood? Will granting AI personhood be problematic for the future of humanity? The idea of machines being granted personhood status is not just an idea for science fiction. It's something that experts are still pondering. It's difficult to say that there are any machines right now worthy of personhood status. More likely, personhood is something that would arise out of artificial general intelligence. But in today's world of narrow AI, the issue is more about granting self-learning robots electronic personalities. Proponents want self-learning robots to be granted electronic personalities. This is not unlike the personhood status currently granted to corporations worldwide. Such a status could allow robots to be insured individually and be held liable for damages if they go rogue and start hurting people or damaging property. Opponents say this would absolve manufacturers of liability. Lawmakers are concerned about black box effect. For example, if decision-making processes are difficult or even impossible to understand, they become impenetrable for litigators seeking to attribute legal responsibility for problems. There are many questions if this was to be upheld in US courts. There are risks involved as well. For example, AI systems could be tasked with law enforcement among human populations, judges, jurors, jailers, and executioners. Military robots could be given power to decide on targets and acceptable collateral damage. Or AI systems could grant voting rights to systems that can copy themselves. This would render humans' votes meaningless. AI systems could amass unlimited earnings, and since they never die, it would never be split up amongst descendants. And AI systems could give unlimited amounts of money to political candidates and groups. Most legal systems are not set up to punish robots or otherwise hold them accountable for wrongdoing. However, there is at least one example of a robot assigned some type of personhood. Sophia, a humanoid robot. Sophia was made a citizen of Saudi Arabia in 2017, the first robot to be made a citizen of any country. However, many experts doubt whether Sophia should be considered a person. It is able to use deep learning to analyze faces and communicate with others, but it lacks general intelligence. Sophia is not necessarily conscious of the external world in the same way humans are. When Saudi Arabia granted citizenship to Sophia, she was given more rights than Saudi women and migrant workers have. This raises ethical issues. Still, it may only be a matter of time before it becomes harder to doubt the personhood of AI systems. Considering the personhood of AI is important because it will mean a machine is deserving of rights. It will be subject to both moral and civil law. This will mean that the ethical principles discussed thus far would also need to be safeguarded for machines. We're not there yet, but it's worth thinking about.